guys, welcome back to another episode of Clothes. Today I have another exciting sewing tutorial for you guys, especially for you AG dolls lovers. If you've been following me, you would know that I made this awesome Cleopatra costume for my daughter. So I was thinking, why don't I make some matching gowns for her favorite AG dolls, since I still have these fabrics. And here are my plans. I have this fabric that's left over from Chloe's Cleopatra gown, and I'm gonna make a matching gown for her American Girl doll. And I also found this fabric from last year's costume. Last year I made an Ariel costume for Chloe, so I still have this remaining fabric from the last make. So I'm going to make another gown for her another doll, who is Leah. I think it would look really good on Leah. And I also have some fabrics like this shiny ones. I think it's a blue fabric, a beautiful baby blue shiny fabric from several years ago when Chloe was still into Elsa, but I couldn't find it anymore. So if these two turn out really good, I probably will go to the store, go to Walmart or Joann's Fabric to buy some fabric for the other dolls, because we still have 2 more dolls need to be dressed up. So let's see how it goes. I made a pattern for our 18-inch AG American Girl dolls, and here comes the good news. You can download this pattern from my website for free. Of course, if you would give a like to my video or even considering subscribing, I would really appreciate it. I made the pattern on regular A4 paper. There won't be any cutting or pasting to do. You can just download the PDF pattern from my website and print using a regular A4 paper and select 100% in scale, and you will be able to get this pattern. So you can see that this regular A4 paper is not long enough, so you can see the pattern on our model. So I put a note here saying that you can just add to your desired length. So if you want a full length gown, you just add it to the bottom of the skirt, and that's what I'm gonna do. I'm going to use this pattern to cut my fabric, and I'm going to add it to the floor length. I haven't tested this pattern yet, but I'm going to make the Cleopatra gown on camera using this fabric for this little girl here. If it goes well, I'll make that one. If it doesn't, I'm going to adjust the pattern. So no matter what, you will get the best pattern from my website. And by the way, for this project, I'm going to use my regular sewing machine, so it's gonna be super easy. I really encourage you guys to try it. You only need to sew 4 lines. That's what you need to do. If you have a regular sewing machine and you know how to sew straight lines, that would be good. And if you don't have a sewing machine, you can always use hand sewing. And because it's only 4 lines, it's gonna be quick anyway. So if you know how to hand sew, you can sew this gown in hand. And also, if you don't know how to hand sew, you can always go to the fabric glue. So no matter what, and you got free pattern, you don't need a sewing machine, and yeah, you just need to get some fabric and you'll get these beautiful gowns. I promise you. So without further ado, let's go to the cutting and sewing. So as I mentioned, the pattern I made is on regular A4 paper, so it's not long enough for a full length gown for your 18-inch American Girl doll. So I'm just gonna put the pattern on her and see how long I need to add the length. So I think for the full length, I need to add 4 inches. So if you need a full length gown, you add 4 inches to my pattern that you add 4 inch to the pattern that you download from my website. And now I fold the fabric with the correct side inside, and I marked 4 inches here. That's the length that I need to add to this pattern. So I'm placing my pattern along this folding line, and this I'm gonna put something on my pattern so prevent from going around. So you can put whatever heavy stuff on it. You know what, I'm gonna just clip on it. And this, we're cutting the front pattern of the dress. So on my pattern, I have a note here saying fold, so this is gonna be the fold line. I'm gonna trace. If you have a rolling cutter, you can cut directly, but I don't have it. So I'm just gonna trace my pattern. This pattern, I already put seam allowance on the side line, on the side seam, and the shoulder seam. So when you cut the fabric, you don't need extra seam allowance for this pattern. But for the back part, it will be different. I'm gonna explain later for the back. So I traced the pattern. Remember that I need to add more length. I need to add length to the bottom. So I'm just along this line and using my ruler to draw the line. And here you go. Let's move the pattern away. And this would be your front panel. I'm gonna just write on it, front, so you won't get confused when you do it. So now I'm gonna cut it. Okay, so this is the front pattern of the gown. And remember, so this is the pattern, and this is the length that I added. You can add whatever length you desire, but the top part is the same. And I also, on my pattern, I marked this dotted line. So the dotted line is the sewing line, and the solid line is the cutting line. So the seam allowance that you have is on the shoulder and on the side seam. You don't need to add seam allowance on other parts. And also I have to add that for this style, it's better to buy knit fabric. So this is knit fabric. Knit fabric is the fabric that's like your sweatshirt fabric. It has elastic on it, and it won't fray. So here is the front pattern. Let's try it on the. Looks pretty good already. Next, I'm going to cut the pattern for the back side. So for the back side, there will be something different. I'm leaving about 1 centimeter seam allowance here. The reason that I make 2 pieces of the back side is because because it's not as flexible. For the back side, if I don't have an opening on the back center, it will be very hard for me to put on the dress for her. So for the back side, I'm going to cut 2 pieces and have a center seam in the middle. So this is why I'm using the same pattern. I'm just leaving 1 centimeter seam allowance on the center back. So I'll cut it to 2 pieces, and then I'll sew to the middle of somewhere, and it will be easier to put on. So I'll explain to you as I go. So now just remember, you leave about 1 centimeters here, basically, and then trace the pattern and cut. So I traced the pattern on the fabric. See, here I have a 1 centimeter seam allowances. And also the same thing, I'm gonna measure 4 inches down because that's make the pattern longer. So you don't need to add seam allowances on the shoulder and the side seam because the pattern already has the seam allowances. You only need to add some seam allowances on the center back. So now I've cut the back pattern like this. Since I'm gonna open it. Now I need to cut it to 2 pieces. So now I'm going to cut along this folding line, cut it to 2 pieces. Okay, now you can see I have 2 back pieces, 2 identical back pieces. So again, the reason I do this is because it's going to be hard to put on to your American Girl doll if you only have 1 piece for the back pattern. Like for Chloe's gown, I only have 1 back piece. And because kids are flexible, but here I'm just afraid it's going to be very hard to put on. So that's why I have 2 pieces. So I'm going to sew here, and when I'm sewing, I'm probably will sew just to here. So I have a neck opening here, so it's easier to put on. So now I'm done cutting. These are all the pieces we need for this gown. So this is the front pattern. It's 1 piece, and these are 2 back pieces. Next, we're going to sew. The sewing is really very, very simple. First, I sew the 2 back pieces together. So let's lay them together with the correct side facing each other. And I'm gonna pin them here. So I pin them. So I'll stitch here. all the way to the bottom. I'll leave this top part open because that's the opening that we need when we dress our American Girl doll, because they are not as flexible as your real kid, so we need to leave openings. That's my experience. So when you open it, it will look like this. So this is one line you need to sew. And after I've done sew that, I'm just gonna demonstrate all together. So pretend that I already sewed that center back line, and then I open it, and I'm gonna put the front piece and the back piece together and line them up with the correct side facing each other. And I'm gonna sew the shoulder line. I'm gonna show the two shoulder lines, and also I'm gonna sew the side lines, side seams. So it's right here. Facing them together with the correct side facing each other, and sew the shoulder lines and side seams. Probably I'll leave about, I leave about 4 inches slit. So I'm gonna sew, this will be the end point, just 4 inch, it will have a slit at two sides. So 1 line, 2 line, 3 line, 4 line, and 5th line. This is all you need, and then you will have your gown, and your gown will be ready. As I said, you can use your sewing machine, and you can use hand sewing, or you can just use fabric glue, whatever you have. My pattern is very straightforward. You can see these dotted lines are sewing lines, so just sew them. Okay, now next I'm going to my sewing machine, and I'm just gonna sew the 5 lines together. And here you have it. I'm so excited. I'm really anxious to find out if they fit. Let's see. So I'm going to just oh, sorry, I forgot the center back. I still need to sew the center back. Here, the center back. Totally forgot. Well, it happens sometimes. If you get too excited about something, you forget, oh, I need to do something else. Okay, that's no big deal, so let's go keep sewing the center back. Okay, this time it's really done. Let me trim the threads. Okay, are you as excited as I am to find out what it looked like? Oh my goodness, here it is, the gown. Now I'm gonna try it on the American Girl doll, see how it looked like. Let's switch the camera from the front view. Let's find out together. So, are you excited as I am to find out if this dress fits this girl perfectly? Let's give it a try. So this is exactly why you need a back slit for this girl, because if we don't have this back opening, I don't think we can put it on. Oh my goodness. Let's see. Oh, let's see. Look. Does it fit? Okay. Not bad. Look, kind of. Well, this isn't what it looks like. I mean, maybe we need to make the waist a little bit smaller. It doesn't. I mean, I had bad expectations, you guys. Sorry about this. So for the back, what you need to do is put something to pin it on when you wear it. To pin it on the back, or just put some sort of closure. Just put some sort of closure, or Velcro or a pin. I think the easier part is just put a pin on it. Let me see. I'm gonna just pin it or clip. What do you guys think? I think it's not that bad. I mean, once it's definitely a little bit loose. So yeah, as you can see that it's a little bit loose. It's a little bit loose for our 18-inch girl. I'll adjust the pattern a little bit and make it a little bit slimmer, so it has a little bit of curve here. But as I think it looks fine. It's okay. I mean, right? You can have a belt if you'd like, but I'm definitely making it a little bit adjusted to make it to have a little bit of waistline here. I'll adjust the pattern and I'll put the adjusted pattern on my website for you to download for free. Yeah, try it over the weekend. Find a project to do with your daughter. This would be very interesting. I would really encourage you guys to try to make this gown. I'm going to put the adjusted pattern on my website, and I'm going to adjust this dress as well. I'm going to make a gown using adjusted pattern. I'm going to make a gown in this green fabric. Hope you enjoyed sewing with me and found this helpful and inspirational, and you can start sewing clothes for your own American Girl dolls. And the good thing is, if you get comfortable sewing clothes for your dolls, you can totally make clothes for your kids, for yourself, because they are about the same thing. It's just bigger. So if you want to learn how to sew, I think a very good starting point is to learn how to sew clothes for your dolls. So I really wish you guys give it a try, download the free pattern, and find some time to do this project with your daughter or your friends, and really get inspirational and get the creations and create something. And I feel like sewing is an art. Every time I'm sewing, I get so excited, and it's really, I feel like the sewing for me is meditation. I just feel it's as good as any other form of arts. You'll paint, you'll sew, and it's gonna be a really great time to spend, quality time to spend with your kids or your friends. So try this. Highly encourage you guys to try this. And the good things, well, you will have a costume for your American Girl doll, and they're gonna match. I think Chloe is going to play with her. I think she's going to do her hair to do her hair just like what I did for her. She's going to do her hair as Cleopatra. I think she will have a great time playing with this doll and her new gown.